everyone, and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell by today's title, I will be sharing with you guys all the books that I read in October. I read so many good books this month and I'm just so excited to share with you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So this is my little pile of books that I actually own and that are mine, and there were a few reads that I got from the library, so I don't have those with me anymore, but I will still be sharing them with you guys because they were so good and hopefully you guys will also love them. So I'm gonna start off with a book that is right on top that was one of my favorites. I was about to say my favorite, but there was another one that I also really loved, but this book was so good, and that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Reculek. This book was a 5-star read. It was amazing. It was the most perfect book for spooky season. It was just like dark and scary and thriller and suspenseful, and the way that everything was described, I felt like I really could picture myself in the story. It was just amazing. It was so good. I highly recommend this one. The reason that I actually picked this book up is because I opened up the book to this page and oh my goodness, look at how scary this looks. I was just like, that's kind of creepy and I need to know what the story is about. So I read the back and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. So I picked it up and I'm so happy that I did because it is one of my favorites. Like I said, I really like this one. So if you're in the search for something spooky and thriller and a little bit creepy, a little bit dark, I definitely recommend checking this book out. I'm going to read the back to you guys so that you guys can know a little bit more what it's about. Mallory Quinn is fresh out of rehab when she takes a job babysitting Ted and Caroline Maxwell's 5-year-old son, Teddy. She immediately bonds with this sweet boy who's never without his sketchbooks. His drawings are the usual fare: trees, rabbits, balloons, but one day he draws something different: a man dragging a woman's lifeless body. Then his stick figures evolve into increasingly sophisticated sketches depicting one disturbing scene after another. Is Teddy troubled, or is he channeling forces he cannot possibly understand? Knowing just how crazy it all sounds, Mallory must decipher the images and save Teddy before it's too late. Like I said, the synopsis had me. I was just like, oh, that sounds like it's gonna be creepy and suspenseful and it's gonna have me on the edge of my seat, and it really did. This book I read in one day. Technically it was 2 days because I read it in the evening, then had to do laundry and all those things, and then I got to bed and I was like, okay, bedtime reading. I stayed up till 4 a.m. reading this book. 4 a.m. That's crazy. My normal staying up reading a book is like till 2 a.m., which is still kind of bad. I shouldn't do that. But 4 a.m. I had to read this. I could not, like in one sitting, I could not stop reading. This was the perfect book and I highly recommend this one. Next book that I have here is kind of along those lines of thriller, kind of spooky, and this is the second book that I've read by this author. The first one that I read was A Perfect Marriage, and that book was also really good. I think I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars just because the plot twist at the end I didn't necessarily love, but I still liked it, if that makes any sense. So I did really like the book and I like the author. So when I saw this one, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pick it up. So I did, and this one is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. This book was very fun and I like this one because this one had a little bit of spice. I love reading spicy books, and by spicy I mean like they have a little bit of a love interest in there, and they're a little bit naughty, I guess you could say. But yeah, it was really good. There were also a few plot twists in this one, but this time I saw them coming, so it wasn't that like oh my gosh moment. I saw it coming, so it wasn't as like wow, a surprise at the end, but I did still enjoy it. And this is just a really good book. I really liked how it was written. I liked the characters in it, and I could picture myself in the story, so I really liked it. And I will read the back for you, or technically it's on the inside, but I'm gonna read it for you guys so you guys can know in case you're interested. Grace Evans, an overworked New Yorker looking for a total escape from her busy life, books an Airbnb on a ranch in the middle of Wyoming. When she arrives at the idyllic, is how you say it? Idyllic getaway, she's pleased to find that the owner is a handsome man by the name of Calvin Wells, and he's eager to introduce her to the easygoing way of life. But there are things Grace discovers that she's not too pleased about. A lack of cell phone service, a missing woman, and a feeling that something isn't right with the ranch. Despite her uneasiness, the two bond and start to fall for one another. That's the spiciness. However, as her departure date nears, things change for the worse. What began as a playful romance soon turns into a complicated web of lies. Grace grows wary? I don't know, English is not my first language, of Calvin as his infatuation for her seems to have morphed to obsession. Calvin fears that Grace is hiding something from him, including her reason for staying at his ranch to begin with. Vacation flings typically end in heartbreak, but for Grace and Calvin, it'll be far more destructive. This book was really good. I really liked it. It was also a pretty fast read. It took me about 3 days, which is my usual when I like a book. But I recommend this one. They also have this at Target, and as well have it linked down below. And the next book is one that I didn't really like. I'm gonna be honest with you. Thought I was going to, and I was searching for a fat minute. I looked at my Target, I looked at the next Target close to me, and they never had it. And then I finally found it when we went to Disneyland, and I got it, and I was so excited. Read it like I think last week. It took me a whole 5 days to finish reading this book because it was just so boring and all over the place and confusing, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. That book is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This book had potential, don't get me wrong, it had potential. And also a lot of people did like it. And if you've already read this book and you liked it, I mean, yeah. But personally, it was just not my vibe. I thought it was gonna be my vibe because it's about this woman who witnesses something and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm shooketh. And then she goes to sleep, and then the next day she wakes up the day before the event took place, and she's like, what's happening? And then she thinks, oh my gosh, I have to figure out how to stop this before it actually happens, so maybe I'll go back to the normal time. I don't know, it was just weird. Like, it sounds like it would be good, but the way it was written or the way it was set up just wasn't really the vibe. It was very confusing, and I don't know, I just didn't like it. And I looked at TikTok and a lot of other people were also saying that, which I'm confused because it's rated 4 stars on Goodreads, but to me it was like a 2 or a 3 stars. But I'm gonna read the back just so you can judge for yourself or see if you would be interested. Can you stop a murder after it's already happened? Late October after midnight, you're waiting up for your 18-year-old son. He's past curfew. As you watch from the window, he emerges and you realize he isn't alone. He's walking toward a man, and he's armed. You can't believe it when you see him do it. Your funny, happy teenage son. He kills a stranger. Right there on the street outside your house. You don't know who, you don't know why, you only know your son is now in custody. His future shattered. That night you fall asleep in despair. All is lost until you wake. And it is yesterday. And then you wake again. And it is the day before yesterday. Every morning you wake up is a day earlier, another day before the murder, with another chance to stop it. Somewhere in the past lies an answer, the trigger for this crime, and you don't have a choice but to find it. So I will say I did enjoy the beginning of the book, like the first 2 chapters, and then the last 2 chapters, I liked it. But like I said, the journey from the beginning to the end, I just did not like. I even tried to listen to it in audiobook, and I would rewind because I'd be like, wait, what? But, I mean, I guess you could give it a chance. But personally, I don't think I recommend it. So, yeah. But moving on to the next book, which I definitely recommend. I love. That book is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I love this book. It was so cute and perfect for fall, Halloween, cutesy vibes. So this book is so cute. It's basically about this witch that lives in a really cute town, and it's very much practical magic, Gilmore Girls vibe. It's like this small town, everybody knows each other. It's very cutesy. They go all out for fall. They have a Halloween festival, and the story actually takes place during October and during the week of Halloween because, you know, they're doing the festival. And It's just so cute. So basically this girl falls in love with this witch, a dude, but they don't call them wizards or warlocks in this story. They just, everyone's a witch. So she like falls in love with him when they're young, they're in college. Then he's like, oh, my bad, I am engaged to someone and I gotta dip. And she's like, excuse you? So she's kind of heartbroken, she's mad. So her and her cousin decide to put this little like curse on him, and they're kind of doing it because they're drunk, and they're more just kind of like, you know, letting the anger out, but they're not actually seriously trying to like put this scary dark curse on him. But they do it, and then fast forward to a few years later, they're all in their 30s, and this guy has to come back to the town because his family had something to do with like, what do you call it? Their descendants founded the town. So he has to come do this like special event thing for the fall festival or the Halloween festival. And when he comes back, he's starting to have bad luck, and he's like, what's happening? And then she bumps into him. And we are back for the second time in this video. So as I was saying, the X-Hex, super cute book. I really loved it. It was adorable, and I'm gonna read the back to you guys in case you guys are interested. So it says, never mix vodka and witchcraft. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Rhys Penhallow, also his name is spelled R-H-Y-S. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I said it. So Rhys Penhallow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and unknowingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glens, Georgia. What should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall fair turns disastrously wrong. Disastrously? Disastrously. With one calamity after another striking Rhys, Vivi realizes her silly little X-Hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Rhys have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. In case you're interested, I will have my Pango books linked down below. It's basically a website where you can sell used books. But yeah, and now I'm going to show you guys the books that I read that were from the library. So the first book is The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro. This book was another 5-star read for me. It was so good. The cover is what got me. Like, look at how beautiful it looks, but then it had like the skull in the middle and it just looks so creepy. This book was basically about this woman who is kind of like depressed and stuff, and she's just not really happy with where her life has been going, and she ends up being haunted by the like Llorona. So it was definitely kind of like a spooky paranormal-y type of book, but I really liked it. Not only was this spirit, I guess, haunting her, but it had been haunting all the women in her family, and it was just so good. I really liked it, and it was a 5-star read for me, and I've said it before, but I told my husband that I want to buy this book because it was just really, really good, and I want to have a copy of it for myself. But I'll show you guys now the next book that I read. The book that I read is Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. This book was also really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, only because I felt like there was a little bit, I don't know, something missing, but honestly I can't even think of what that is. Overall, I did enjoy it though. It was fun and a good October read. This book basically is about a woman who is going back to her hometown to visit her twin sister because she is pregnant, and she's, you know, going to help her out with the baby. And when she's there, she gets into a car accident and she hits an animal, or at least she thinks it's like, you know, a normal animal, but of course it turns out to be a wolf. And the book is just kind of her working through her transition of, you know, turning into a wolf and coming to reality with everything. And it's definitely, it was fun because they had dark humor in it, which I honestly really like. So it was a fun book. It wasn't anything like scary or anything like that, but if you're looking for something that's fun but fits the Halloween October vibes, I would suggest adding this to your reading list. And then another mention that I actually did not read myself, but I got it for my husband. We got Daughter of Red Winter, and he said that this book was really good. He said it was fun. He said it's an adult book, but it reads like a YA book. And I honestly don't really know what it's about, but he really liked it, so I thought I pop this in here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like I said, I will have these books linked down below. And I'm very excited for some December Christmas vibes, cutesy romance books. I've actually already started my TBR list, so let me know if you guys are interested. I can show you guys like a book haul, or I can do a book review at the end, whichever you guys would like. But yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a beautiful, magical, wonderful day. Bye!